All right, my name is Vincent Lee. Thanks for coming to today's Munch and Learn on the face-off between branding and marketing. So I get asked a lot this question, if there is a difference between branding and marketing. So today it's going to be very hands-on because I've given you a worksheet on the table that I put those two side by side as we go through 5 main face-off. And there will be some practical questions for you to answer for yourself, for your business that you're running, and so that you can find a beautiful marriage between branding and marketing in the decisions that you're making every day. So let's start off with the first one. We're talking about long-term versus short-term. This should be pretty straightforward. Branding is all about long-term. Marketing is all about short-term. If you have attended my other workshop before where I dive into the components of branding, I always ask this question, right? If you own a mattress business, what are you in the business of selling? You can either be in the business of selling a good night's sleep or in the business of selling a good mattress. There's no right or wrong, it's just identifying what those are. And in this context, the long term is your good night's sleep. We're talking about those emotional values. In the short term, we're talking about good mattress, the tangible values. Let's look at a case study. How does this image make you feel? Anyone recognize where this image comes from? It's actually a Coca-Cola ad. It's their campaign talking both about their tangible and the emotional values that they're selling. We obviously know they're in the business of selling soda, right? The iconic bottle is part of their visual brand. But if you pay attention enough, they are dropping a lot of those tangible stuff and focus a lot on the emotional value that they're selling. Even the way their brand name is wrapped around the bottle become a very visual, powerful brand. So in this context, we're talking about making sure you have a good balance of the tangibles and the emotional. The emotional value that you're selling is the branding aspect of it, is the long-term aspect of it. People will keep coming back for that emotional. And then you can be putting your brand on any other product thereafter. People will buy it when they resonate with that emotional value that you're selling. So Coca-Cola, as we know, they're trying to make their customer feel happy. That's one of their original campaign. It's all about happiness. Allstate is all about security. They want to make their customer feel secure. Nike, determination. Pampers, all about comfort. I mean, the list can go on if you think about it. I want you to ask yourself this question pertaining to your business. How do you want your consumer to feel? It can be more than one, but keep it short and sweet so that we can manage that when it comes to marketing. All right, so we talk about the short term being the good mattress, being the tangibles. You can then start thinking about your tangible product or services, right? Can you launch a new offering? Those will be your opportunity to market your tangible. Is there an incentive that can be offered on a time-limited basis, right? People don't like FOMO, the fear of missing out thing. So you're just using that strategy for short-term marketing strategy. Trial period, you see that a lot, and subscription. So when you think about this in the context of your business, don't just talk about your tangible products or service. Pair it with the emotions that you're wanting to get out from your consumer, right? In the case of Coca-Cola, we see that they put an image of an elderly person hugging a younger person. And then they don't even show their product because they've done this long enough that their consumer are getting it. They're buying into the emotion more than the soda. The soda is a good thing to have if they crave for it. I mean, Christmas is coming. You'll see a bunch of soda ads from Coca-Cola, if not Pepsi as well. So in all practicality, when you think about your business, you know your product very well. Make sure you pair it with the emotion that you want to get out from your consumer, all right? Second face-off. Hardware versus hardware/software. I'm talking about the who versus the what and the how. All right? The who versus the what and the how. If you're a one-person business or one-man show like myself, the who is you. You are the founder, you are the owner, you live and breathe your business. It should bleed into your business as well. So understand that. And then the what and the hows are essentially the product/services. We're going to talk about touch point. All right? But let's look at the case study. We are all very familiar with what was happening recently at Walmart. They decided to get rid of all their men register, right? And based on an article, customer service person was saying that this is an effort to improve the experience of checkout, make it more convenient, make it faster. Obviously, they are faced with yay and nay. Some people love it, some people hate it. But they're being responsive. The point is they're aware of who they're serving, and based on their survey, they decide, let's try this out. If it doesn't work, let's go back to the man checkout thing, right? However, that's just only one touch point. And touch point, like I say, is that I'm going to address now, is how your customer experience you. So in the case of Walmart, let's look at those 3 touch points as you start thinking about how that applies to your own business. Always consider online, obviously, in this day and age, is your website. And Walmart, probably for over a year now, I think, they start offering free Wi-Fi. It's a very clever strategy, actually, right? Because people can start searching or do whatever they want on their phone if they feel safe enough to connect to the free Wi-Fi there. On print is everything on print, right? So they have sales flyers that you see, especially during the holiday times. All the posters that you see hanging around in the store, those are considered on-print touch point. On-site, in the case of Walmart, is the key. Is how consumer get in touch with the product that they're buying. So this is their storefront. Their product placement has actually been changed recently too. Their store layout has changed. And obviously their staff. So you are an on-site touch point, being the founder, being the owner, being the salesperson, being the person that deliver the service or the product. So in all practicality, the question you need to ask when it comes to the who of your business is, what problem are you trying to solve for yourself, for your staff if you are hiring, and for the people that are paying money for your product and or business. You should always start there. What problem are you trying to solve? I know you're excited about your product, yes, but let's address what problem you're really trying to solve. Address the pain points, address the desires, all right? So say, for example, in the pet training industry, what do you think is a common pain point?
Dogs, leash pulling on walks, really actually physically painful for a lot of my clients.
A lot of your clients are saying it's hard to keep their pet on the leash. So that is a problem. You're addressing that problem, all right? How do you pair that emotion with the product? Can you think of an example?
Enjoy walks with your dog again.
Okay. Making that statement about enjoying your walks with dog again. You paint that picture to pet owner and resonate with their emotion. And then you say, hey, I can train your dog to be better on the leash. So always be pairing the problem with your solution. But first, know what problem you're trying to solve, okay? Okay, so addressing your financial planning side of your business. So they're stressed about not knowing how to handle their financial issues. What do you think is their desire?
Just to have a plan.
To have a plan. What comes out from having a plan, the emotions?
Just peace, sleeping better at night.
Okay. So you can talk about having a good night's sleep when you don't have to worry about your financial issue. Then you present your solution. Emotion, tangible value, okay? You can do this exercise for your business when you look at the problem and how your solution is solving the problem. Then, on the practical standpoint, the what and the how, your hardware and your software, start looking at all those touch points. Make a list. What are all your online touch points? List it out. Even your email communication is considered an online touch point. How you reply to people is an aspect of branding as well as marketing. Okay, on print, anything printed from business card all the way down to your invoices. On-site would be if you have an office, you have a restaurant, a store location, a space like this, those are your on-site. And you, again, is that on-site component. All right? So far, so good? Face-off number 3. Branding is about the day-to-day. Marketing is about the season-to-season. The day-to-day, we're talking about consistency. Everyone say this, you hear it enough. If you're not consistent, people will not remember you. It can be as simple as the color you choose to use. Be consistent with that. Be consistent with the words that you choose to use to describe a problem. Or if you want variation, you can do that, but be consistent with those variations as well. Season to season is being creative. And in this imagery that I put out there, we'll give you a hint as far as what that is. We're going to dive into it. Case study with Lego. So let's talk about first and foremost their touch point. They have their on-site touch point, which is their store. Familiar with that. We're going to address the other two on-site later on. The on-print will be their actual product in their packaging, and they are actually printing books as well. Okay, and then their online, obviously, a lot of business cannot not have that, and they have their online presence. Now, what can you see that is considered consistent about them? The colors, okay? Their logo, obviously, is that red logo. The font is consistent. The design of the blocks, okay, they have their basic blocks. The feel of it, I bet you can feel it in your hands right now, even though you don't have the Lego blocks. You can hear the sound of the blocks as well, huh?
Stepping on them.
And stepping on them, right? Okay. When it comes to being consistent, I want you to consider which 5 senses are you able to engage your consumer or customer across the 3 touch points. Now, sometimes, so say for example, the sense of taste is very challenging for most industry, okay? If you're not in the restaurant industry. But you think about it, right? It's all about creativity here. Lego started their Legoland stuff, and they have restaurants. They even have standalone restaurants. They are incorporating taste with the experience of Lego in general. They have menus that are inspired by their Lego stuff. Their whole setup of the restaurant is like that. So all it takes is just for you to think a little bit deeper, because when it is not the norm, it sticks out in the head of your consumer. It takes time. We are not going to be able to come up with any creative, very creative ideas just here and now talking to you, because I do not know your business very well. All right? But be thinking about how you can use one, if not all, of the 5 senses to engage your consumer across the touch point. I have worked with a home builder before, several years ago. We talked a lot about a new car smell. I told them, can we not have a new home smell? And then be able to corner the market by having a new home smell. You infuse that smell in your model homes, and then as people walked in often enough, when they smell it, they know, oh, this is this particular builder. And then we took it another step further. When a home buyer actually bought one of our homes, this is a plan. The CEO didn't actually execute it. We wanted to work with Sensi to develop a specific scent unique to the homeowner for their home. So you're just using different strategy that evokes those senses to make your marketing creative. So when you think about the touch point, that is the first thing you need to do as a business owner. Make sure it's consistent, from color to text, to visuals, to videos, to what they see, what they hear. And then you can dive deeper into what they touch, what they smell, what they taste, if you can take it to that level. Season to season, you can start off by asking, there are 4 seasons in a year. What can I, as a business, do unique stuff for each season? Only you know that. That's a good place to start. There are a lot of common ones, and then situational is something that we're going to dive into in the case study. So let's talk about some seasonal case study. This has gone crazy, right? The whole pumpkin spice thing, until we get so tired of it. It started with obviously Starbucks. And then all the food and beverage industry started coming out with pumpkin spice stuff. And then you have the beauty line. And then you have the household stuff. And now I found a pet cologne that is pumpkin spice. But what problem are they trying to solve, right? You think about it. What problem are they trying to solve?
Doesn't smell good.
Yeah, the dog may not always smell good. And if I like pumpkin spice, you don't think it'll smell good on the dog? If it's out there, people are buying it, okay? So this is about being creative. Make sure it makes sense to your business though, okay? Don't do something that doesn't make sense. If you make your customer go, huh? And then, it's that negative experience you do not want to have. The next one is situational. We are all familiar with the whole COVID pandemic. What are the 3 key problems as a result of the COVID pandemic? Relationships, safety, sustenance. Can anyone guess the 3 players that came out strong solving those problems?
Yeah.
Lysol is clever. Lysol actually went to CDC and proved to CDC, hey, we kill 99% of the COVID germs. And then they can stamp it on their product. Everyone went crazy. All right. I heard a podcast, and this is going to throw some of you off. Lysol, one of the original purpose was for female birth control. Go figure. If you're interested in that podcast, let me know. I'll send it to you. Anyway, my point is, these are situational opportunities that you need to be thinking on your feet. This doesn't happen very easily, and you don't just jump on every bandwagon, okay? It can break you if it doesn't make you. So, situational, campaign-driven stuff is your season to season. Please do the day-to-day properly before you tackle the season to season. So that's the face-off. Always talk about the problem and what your solution can do. Face-off number 4, long haul versus right now. We're business people. We need to make money. We're all about right now. I need you to buy right now, okay? But there's value in developing a long-haul relationship with your consumer. We talk about good night's sleep. Let's talk about something greater. That's what we're talking about, long haul. Everyone wants to be part of something bigger than themselves. That's the mindset. Right now is you're offering something cheaper. All right, so both things can play together as they should. Case study. Let's look at the one on this side. The 1-for-1 model is coined by Tom. Tom's Shoe, they started this whole model where if you buy 1 pair of shoe, I will give another pair to someone that's needing it more than you do. So they started this, was successful, people are buying into it because they want to be part of something greater than themselves. And then you start seeing companies adopting that method. Warby Parker, the eyewear company, they do that as well currently. Now, Tom no longer do that because it become not as practical. So they develop a foundation. You buy a pair, they give some money to this foundation, and then this foundation does the work that it needed to do in specific community that are marginalized or underprivileged. Education is another aspect of, it's an area that you can do something greater. So we have Apple and Microsoft focusing on education. It makes sense to the industry. Disaster relief is another very common one. So we see Home Depot and Lowe's being active in that space. Now, it doesn't mean you need to be in a space that is just uniquely yours. It just needs to make sense to you. All right? It just needs to make sense to you. So be thinking This may not happen now, but what can you do in your business that can be something greater? Again, don't feel overwhelmed by how big this needs to be. Make sure it's just manageable. You can grow it from there. It can become something much, much greater than that. I do not know until you spend time doing it. So when you think about the something greater, you start by looking at how you want your consumer to feel, what are the problems that you are solving, and then what do you think the society or the world needs? If all that makes sense, then you're on to something. All right, it needs to make sense to your business. And then the whole something cheaper can come as and when you feel there's a need to push something cheaper. You can be offering solar panel for $1 just for today, right? But then if you have something greater behind it, first, it makes sense for you, if it does make sense for you. Then you are getting other people involved in a greater thing. So this is all about looking at a bigger problem, making sure it makes sense to your problem that you're currently solving, and then what is your solution that fulfills that? Get your consumer to see themselves being part of solving this. The fifth one, steadfastness versus responsiveness. These two imagery, to me, paints the big picture. Steadfastness in terms of branding is all about having a compass. A compass never changes in its way where it's pointing, right? That's your true north. Responsiveness is like a wind vane. You need to adapt according to the direction of the wind that is blowing or how strong the wind is blowing. So as a business, you need to have both sides of this formula. So the branding end of things, the true north is really why you do what you do. The problem you're solving now, does it relate to a problem you're solving in the future? This will give you that true north that allows you not to waver. Adaptability is, has the problem or your consumer or customer evolved? Then that's where you adapt. Okay, so say for example, I think a pet business is easy to talk about this. So let's say you're all about pet care and pet training and the problem that you're trying to solve is pets are not easy to get on leash. The greater problem I see is companionship. So if next year dogs became the no-no animal for pet, he's not going to be out of business if he's in the business of solving the problem of people needing companionship. Other animals can come into play. So that's having your true north. What is truly the problem they are trying to solve? Then your scope of products or services becomes wider, but you can still evolve as the wind changes. Last case study. I use this a bit because I personally was so intrigued by this grocery store called Trader Joe that I decided to find a job with them back in 2016. This actually was a picture I took that first time I stepped into a Trader Joe with my buddy when we were doing a road trip to Mexico. This is in OKC. She's my good friend right now. I didn't know her from Adams then. I was so impressed with Trader Joe. I was like, what is going on at this grocery store? I started taking pictures, I started thinking, and like being a brand strategist, I was so intrigued. And then I learned a lot when I started working with them. They pride themselves on being a neighborhood store. And so if you have walked into one before, all their signages are hand-drawn. Even their product tag are hand-drawn. You would think, why are they doing that? Because it's a lot cheaper to go print something and then, or maybe do a scanner thing. But no, because they are steadfast about who they are. And then they also believe in their in-store experience. They have never sold their things online yet. So when a situation happened, obviously COVID happened, right? They know they wanted to maintain their true north is the in-store experience. They are a neighborhood grocery store. They continue to donate to food bank. COVID happened. The wind vane, right? They still decide, I'm not going to do online shopping. We're not going to offer that. Neither are we offering curbside pickup. They just limit the number of foot traffic in there. I was there when it happened. I was working. I was standing outside talking to the people standing in line. You know what? This old gentleman, feeble and all, right, had to wait in the cold. You know what he said to me? When I was talking to him, I'm engaging. That's part of the brand of Trader Joe. If you don't like to build relationship, don't go there. We'll talk your ear off. But that old gentleman was telling me, this is the best time in my day. Just standing there and interacting with us in the cold before he can go in and buy his things and go home. So that is truly an example of how you're steadfast with what you believe in and while you adapt as the wind changes. And then they continue to donate food to the food bank. So you have the 5 face-off between branding and marketing. You have some key questions that I hope you wrote down as I went through this to make sure you balance both in your strategy.